Hello, Wankers.
What's up, Vankahs?
Greetings, Vankas.
What's new?
What's new? Guenther, this championship has been burst wide open. Max Verstappen has come in hot. McLaren's feeling crazy. Andrea Stella's saying they've got that Max is a problem. Papaya rules are feeling like they're maybe papaya drooling because this week changed everything, Guenther. It changed everything.
This papaya rules, which we still don't know what they are because they don't exist. Whenever you don't know what to say, it's papaya rules, yeah.
That's right.
Papaya
That's
rules.
right. Well, we'll see if they make Lando crash at Singapore to make it fair. We'll see if that happens. How far do these papaya rules go? But we have got so much to cover on this episode. We've got Max Verstappen back in this title race. We've got the chaos at McLaren. Oscar Piastri showing us that he's human. We didn't think it was possible. Christian Horner might be back on the grid next year. Paul Aaron might replace Colapinto. What's going on? Carlos Sainz got a podium. Carlos Sainz got a podium. Ferrari. There's so much to discuss. But before we get to that, we got a show, Vankah Nation. We are doing a live show in Austin this year, Sunday night after the race, 9 p.m. Your three favorite Vankas are going to be at the Paramount Theater discussing the GP. We're going to do Gas or Break in person. We're going to do Rockstar Wanker in person. Guenther, who do you think is going to be the Rockstar for the Coda GP? Who do you think, if you had to guess right now, who do you think is going to be the Rockstar?
Who's going to be the Rockstar? And we need to, it will be somebody, George Russell.
George Russell?
Yeah.
It's going to be, it's going to be the fans that show up to your show, Guenther.
That's right.
How stupid I am, huh?
I mean, if you show up, you are an honorary rockstar. Honorary rockstar. So the link is in the description.
If you don't show up, what are you then?
A wanker.
Correct,
That's right.
We got it, yeah.
So,
and who wants to be a wanker, so all show up and you're rock stars,
Yeah.
That's right. Tickets are ticket link is in the description. Tickets are going quick, baby. Don't miss out. People are sleeping on the mezzanine. I'm just saying. People are sleeping on the mezzanine. That's where you get the best view. Anyway.
Don't be like Alex Albon and miss out on a golden opportunity. Be Carlos Sainz and get in there. Get in there.
And you forgot to say the date and the time and the location.
I said October 19th.
Okay.
At the Paramount Theater in Austin, 9 p.m. after the race. Be there or be fucking square. We got so much to discuss on this episode. Let's cue the music. And this is, of course, Vankah Hours brought to you by BetMGM. Let's get into it.
No fuck smash, my dog. I'm done the fucking Steiner and I'm back for more. No fuck smash, my dog. I'm done the fucking Steiner and it's time
for... And we're back. Okay. Guenther, we got to start with the Baku GP Rockstar and Wanker. Who was your Rockstar for the Baku GP?
Carlos. I think it's Carlos. You can't have anybody else. I mean, be doing qualifying, then bring it home pretty secure in the race. No mistake, nothing, just a good race. Or how does Carlos say? A smooth operation, A smooth operation, yeah. Very smooth operation. I mean, he did a fantastic job. I mean, it's like, what can you expect more from him?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a good one. We, earlier this year, Guenther, we did a gas or break, and it was will Williams get a podium this year? And Matt and I said gas, and you said break. So, what do you got to say about that?
I fucked up. As simple as this. Hey, I mean, live and learn, But
have you learned to trust our judgment more and maybe defer to us? Just maybe a little. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. I still go with my, and then if I get it wrong, I learn out of it. And but I cannot even say you guys lucked into it because he did a good job. Nothing else, He did a very good job, So It was not like, because sometimes...
There was a little bit of luck. There was a little bit of luck with the time he got, his P2 time was from before Charles's red flag. So his time after the red flag, when everyone was kind of going in there in the changing conditions, he actually wouldn't have been in that position in order to get that. But then on race day, there's nothing to really say.
Yeah.
I mean, he nailed it on race day.
Yeah. He took the opportunity when he got it, and then he did it on Sunday. Yeah.
What do you think this says about the Williams organization? Are you buying the hype? Do you think this is an outlier? Do you think that this is a sign of more things to come from them?
No, I think it's an outlier. I mean, obviously, they have an opportunity and they took it, but they are now, in my opinion, clearly the fifth best team there. But the step to being the top four is still big. It's in the moment. It's not there. I mean, it's still a long way to go. But I would say the only ones which in the moment can get somehow near them is Racing Bulls. All the other ones, they left behind. And obviously, Williams sometimes have a bad race. But in general, if you take the average, I mean, obviously the average is just look at how many points they've got. They are the fifth best team in the moment. I mean, now that picture becomes very clear. So they don't have to worry not to finish. I mean, obviously they look backwards to Racing Bulls, because Racing Bulls has been strong the last races. But I mean, Williams cannot challenge the top four. They are quite a bit away from them, but they made their own space in the championship in P5. Pretty clear.
Guenther, do you think that Ferrari is feeling, as your countrymen would say, they're feeling a little rimpianto? A little regret?
For Carlos, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A little regret. Think they're looking over there feeling like a little buyer's remorse.
I think some people in the team do. I think obviously management cannot feel regret, because that would you would be admitting that you did something wrong, and you cannot do that, Because but I'm sure that some of the guys there they are feeling regret, because Ferrari finished 8th and 9th in Baku. Carlos Sainz and Williams finished 3rd, So it's like. I guess the guy feeling best about it is Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, what do you think this does for him? Because this year, up until this point, has been a rough go. A lot of it out of his control, some of it in his control. For this to kind of reestablish himself as in the eyes of the paddock, because you think that maybe people were looking at him this year like, oh, maybe he's not that good. Do you think that this, if there were people in the paddock that were thinking that maybe Carlos he was overhyped, do you think that this nullified that, or you still think that that's kind of circling around the paddock?
No, I mean, it's always when you have results like Carlos had this year. But again, you can see Carlos, he stayed calm. He never tried to find excuses. Whatever he did, he was never... when there was something wrong, he questioned it, but didn't dwell on about it, and just put his head down and went for the next result. And he got his result, He believes in himself. He knows what he can do. He works hard, and then the results come. And he was patient. So, but I mean, you have always these people out there, the critics, which say, "Oh, he was overhyped." I mean, he cannot even beat Albon. But
who would say that? Who would say that?
Not us. Not us.
You do.
Oh, you know what? We did say that. And you know what? I don't
me.
think that I don't think that this necessarily fully changes that. I'll go out on a limb and say that. I think that Albon still this year has had his number. I don't know if we've seen it with Nico Hülkenberg, right? Nico Hülkenberg, was looking like he had his podium, but Bortoleto has actually been more of a little bit of the impressive story.
You're scraping deep now. You're at the bottom of the barrel to find excuses for your comments.
I don't know.
Look,
I think
hey, scoreboard. Look at the scoreboard.
Even
Look
with
at
the podium, he's
scoreboard
still well behind Albon in the points. I still think that.
But Albon is a very good driver. I mean, but
right.
I
Albon
never said that
was never
Albon
the
is bad.
bell.
Come on, don't put words in my mouth.
Okay, but Albon was not the bell of the ball like Carlos Sainz and ever in free agency. Ever.
He was at Red Bull.
Come on! Last year, when he was dropped by Ferrari, everyone was like, "He's, oh my God, he is the most." He had his pick of teams. It seemed like almost of the lower half of the grid, whereas Albon was never feted quite like that.
No, because
would you agree that Carlos Sainz was way more highly touted than Alex Albon, and now it seems like they're pretty close to even.
Yeah, but Albon. I think with Alex Albon, he went into the Red Bull too early, because he was there too early and then didn't fulfill. And then I think he did a year, he went to DTM. Is that correct? Yep. Yeah. And then came back and was stronger, and built his career up again. But Albon was always, he was one of them which were together with Norris. Who else was there? Russell in Formula 2 and Formula 3. And he was one, it was very good year there when they were there. So, yeah, and everybody rated him very highly. So I think for him going too early to Red Bull, that messed a little bit with his confidence. Because he didn't have it always easy in racing. And then I think he was like, oh, my career is over. And then he goes to DTM, which obviously it's a big step down from F1 for a driver. And you think your career is over, and then makes it back to F1 and build the career up again. But that again shows building it up like George Russell did at Williams is pretty good, You just need to give yourself time. But back to comparing him with Carlos, I think I always said for me they are both good drivers because I always rated Albon as very good. So I never doubted Albon.
Well, we'll get to some Red Bull discussions a little bit later, but we need your wanker for the Baku GP. Guenther, who was your wanker for Baku?
I think we have to give the wanker this time to Ferrari because 8th and 9th, beaten by Racing Bulls, beaten by Williams, the mess not to let Charles by. At the end, Lewis falling asleep to let him by because he was focusing on something else, they need to wake up because if they want to become second in a championship like this, it's not going to happen, So in the moment, they're not second anymore.
What happened with them the whole year? I mean, 'cause last year, at the end of the year,
they were very good.
They were right there with McLaren. I mean, it was. They were starting to trade wins, and it seemed like they had really kind of gotten on top of the concept of the car. They had worked some stuff out, and then this year, not a single win. This might be the first podium-less year of Lewis Hamilton's career. You talk about the regret of like, what if Carlos Sainz was what. If Charles Leclerc can barely do anything with the car, we saw them over those years. They were even if not giving Charles the edge. What do you really think that Carlos Sainz would be able to do with this car as slow and bad as it is?
I don't know what Carlos could do, but in general, I think, as you said, last year it looked very promising. The second half of the year was very good from Ferrari. And again, we had big expectations, me included. And, sometimes, until a race ago, they were second. We don't have to forget that. But they need a wake-up call now to say, hey, with results like Baku, and they know that. They don't need us three clowns to tell them,
Right. But let's be clear about why they're... But the reason they're second is not necessarily because that car deserves to be second. It's because...
No, because
Max
Red Bull
Verstappen
races,
is driving Red Bulls. Yuki's been...
Don't say that about Yuki. Yeah, exactly. Because
Yuki had his best. He had his best result. But let's be honest, you can look at the points tally, and then also Kimi Antonelli's in the second seat at Mercedes. So you have your two main competitors with people who are not up to snuff in that second seat. And as much as there's been discussion about how Lewis Hamilton's not been like as great as we normally expect him to be, he's outperforming those other two, drivers on the other team. So they're kind of in second a little bit by default.
They're actually in third now.
Now they're in third, and now that Yuki's maybe figured that now that Red Bull's maybe figured out a bit of this car, and they've got their upgrades going.
They need to get a wake up call if they want to finish second, which will be very difficult because Mercedes won races, Red Bull won races, Ferrari hasn't won a race yet. They were
fourth is in play now. Fourth is in play now for them.
Yeah.
McLaren. Mercedes has 290. Mercedes has 290. Ferrari is at 286. So Mercedes just passed them with this George podium and this bad performance. Ferrari's at 286, and Red Bull's only at 272. So Red Bull's in fourth place, 14 points down. Now if Yuki can get some solid points and Max starts winning again, Ferrari could finish fourth.
I think Ferrari will finish fourth. I think Ferrari definitely is going to finish fourth this year.
I wouldn't say definitely. Any of the three. They are so close together. It's too early to call. If Mercedes has got a good race and they win a race and Kimi makes some points, they can be in front. But I think the most struggle will Red Bull will have because, we get to Red Bull afterwards. But I don't think Max, will win a lot more races this year. I think the McLarens will.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second. Well, I want to ask one more question about Ferrari.
Yeah.
How do you go? What happens between a Friday and a Saturday when, Ferrari looks like it has a good car, they're running quickly, and then they just have a collapse on Saturday? Does that seem like a setup issue, a tire prep issue? What happens between a Friday?
There is not one solution to it. It's obviously they messed a Saturday up, Ferrari, and then obviously the result on Sunday is difficult to achieve. I mean, I expect a little bit more out of them, but I mean, they clearly messed Saturday up. So, and then you're on your back foot, and it's very difficult to recover because all the other cars are so close to you. It's only a few tenths out, and if you're only 2 tenths faster than another car, you cannot overtake him because the delta is not big enough, and then you end up where you start. Basically, it's difficult to do. So I'm not too surprised about that one. But the errors were made on Saturday, not on Sunday. On Sunday it was too late.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at BetMGM. Vankahs, this season's getting crazy. If you had money on Carlos Sainz to be on this podium, I don't even want to know what that line would have been. That would have been juicy. And as this season keeps going, we don't know what is going to happen. The McLaren dominance is not as secure as it used to be, which is why it makes it that much more fun to throw some money down at BetMGM on these races. And as you know, we've teamed up with BetMGM this season, and we're using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks. And we have a special offer for our listeners each week. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use bonus code DADDY, and you will receive up to $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code DADDY, because we're fun. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, race, whatever. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code DADDY when you sign up. BetMGM. Make it legendary.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 for New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 for Massachusetts. 21 and over only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP for Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF for Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 for Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
All right, well, let's talk about Max. Let's talk about
Supermax.
Red Bull.
It was Supermax.
I mean,
yeah,
he's done it again, but even more than that, obviously he's Supermax. He's done it again, but they brought this upgrade to the floor in Monza. We saw the success there. Now, Yuki even is started. He had his best results at the organization this last week. There is a feeling of maybe they figured out some stuff with this car. They're able to ride the car lower, which is key to the ground effects, that they've figured out something. I don't know what's with their suspension, whatever it is, but they're able to get more downforce. Max is talking about bottoming out more, which is a sign that they're actually running these cars as low to the ground as possible, which is what you want. Now, there is obviously, you've already implied in this episode that you don't think that he can pull this off, but I'll give you a little bit of the bullish case as to why he might be able to. All right. I think Singapore seemingly should be McLaren's back to dominating. It's slow, high deg, hot. That should be them back to dominating. If Max can finish third in that race, I think that McLaren is in a lot of trouble, because Max has been great historically at, what are the next few races? He's been great historically at Coda. He's been great in Mexico. He's been great in Brazil. Las Vegas is very similar to these tracks where he's won. Lots of long straights, high-speed specialties. And then Qatar, I'm not exactly sure, but Abu Dhabi seems like it's the next McLaren, more like built for what they do kind of track, because it actually fits into their scheme a bit more. So it feels like of these next however many races, only 2 really play fully into McLaren's hands, and then the rest feel like a little bit more toss-ups. And if McLaren could be the mess that they were in Baku, and Max Verstappen starts putting pressure on these boys, we know that Lando Norris can fold under some pressure, and now we're seeing maybe Oscar Piastri, if enough pressure is put on him, maybe he can fold as well. I think it's not that crazy that Max Verstappen can win this thing. Guenther, what do you think?
Now, I mean,
come on.
I mean, you know it all. You sound. I mean, first of all, we have to be worried, Matt and me, that if Adrian Newey hears the explanation about ground effect and all that stuff, he will recruit you. You know, so you're gone from the podcast. You know,
Adrian, get me out of here.
Yeah, a $5 million contract, and Brian will be gone.
I'll take a little bit of an ownership stake. I'll take a little piece of your pie.
Okay. So Brian is gone. It's only Matt and me left, you know. So anyway, and then all the other things which happen in the next races, they're just like, I mean, you know, it's, and you think Red Bull Max will do nothing wrong. Everything will go as smooth as you just told us. I don't think that will happen.
When does Max do anything wrong, except for Barcelona when he lost his mind? When?
Yeah, maybe he's not doing anything wrong, but I think the McLaren is just a better car. McLaren had one bad race, guys, you know. Put it this way, this year. And, you know, the papaya rules didn't work because they didn't need them because Oscar did it himself. So, but maybe that was the papaya rule that they told Lando, do not attack because you need to have a disadvantage because otherwise Oscar is a disadvantage. You know, I think it's all masterminded by Zach and Andrea, you know. Do not score because that is not fair, you know, buddy. So anyway, joking aside.
So you think this update that they brought is a flash in the pan? Because I'm of the belief that if Max is given an update that makes his car as good as the other cars, he'll win every race because he's the best.
We all agree on one thing. Max is the best, you know. We all agree that it's very seldom that happens. But I would wait with the upgrade on call it a normal racetrack. These are high-speed tracks, you know, and they are different. So see if it works, if it has got the same effect on a normal track, you know. So, because on the normal track, the McLaren was, the best car. So let's wait a little bit. But
So what's a track you'd have to see him win that you're like, all right, McLaren's fucked?
High-speed tracks you have to see, and I think the only one really playing in their hands is Vegas. That will be a Red Bull track in my opinion. Kota is pretty fast, but it's you know, there's still a lot of turn. Exactly, there's a lot of turns in there. Yeah.
But so, Brazil's pretty fast.
Yeah, but
it's sweeping. It's sweeping.
It's sweeping, but it's not long straight. So you know because I think also what happens with that upgrade, I think they have relative good downforce by relative low drag. You know, that makes them very efficient car. It is, you know, but maybe on a normal track, medium speed, that doesn't play so much in the hand because the McLaren is very good there. You know. And high downforce, the McLaren is very good. So
if Max has pretty good pace in Singapore, not saying he's going to win in Singapore, but let's say he can at least hang with the two guys in Singapore. What do you think that says? Because Singapore, seemingly, from everything that we know, should be a track where the McLarens sail off into the distance and Red Bull is nowhere. That's what we've seen this year. Should be a terrible track for Max. It should be an amazing track for McLaren. If this update means that Max is kind of at least sniffing those guys there, do you think he's got a shot?
I would be more willing to say he has got a chance. Not saying that he's going to win it, but he has got a chance in the moment. Because even if Max wins, the other two, under normal circumstances, have got the second fastest car. Because it's very rarely that any of the other cars, we just spoke about Ferrari. I don't think Ferrari can get there, you know. The Mercedes, it's just like in some races, they are very good, but there are very few of them, and maybe there is one. So I think even if Max has got the best car, he still can just make, you know, he will not win them all anyway, in my opinion. But it could open up that it's get competitive and that McLaren has to change the papaya rules and support one driver actually supported to win, which they maybe should have done a little bit earlier, you know, but obviously they want to be fair, even wanting to lose a world championship, you know, by being fair. I wouldn't do that, but because...
So that's an interesting question that you bring up, because last year, at a certain point, around this time, or I think it was right before Baku, it was after Monza, they said, Lando's leading the championship. If he has a shot to make up this lead, we're going to give him the optimal strategy. He's going to be prioritized. Do you think that if Max starts sniffing this thing, that I was about to say papaya rules, that McLaren should do that, or that they will do that? What do you think?
I think they should and they will. Because in the end, to win a championship, and normally the driver in front is gonna have that advantage because he's in front, he's better. So
you think it'll be that they'll give Oscar the nudge if Max keeps
I'm pretty sure if Max can show in Singapore that he's a threat by winning the race or, getting closer than finishing second, I think they will make the call pretty quick because... Ooh.
That will be tense.
But cool.
That'll be drama.
Yeah, that will be drama.
I just don't see a world where Zach Brown is like, Lando, you're going to have to he's the face of the franchise. I don't see a world where that happens.
Yeah,
but hard. I find it so hard to imagine. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it won't happen. It's just I find it unfathomable.
But it will happen because in the end you want to win the Drivers' Championship as well, not only the constructors. And the team is more importance than the driver, and the drivers are, as I always say, just and not diminishing, just part of a team. And both cannot win. And so instead of having two fighting and lose it all, you get somebody to win. As much as Lando is the face and the as you put it, the favored son, I think McLaren needs to be above that and will be above that.
It just seems so weird to twist yourself in knots to be like, we have papaya rules, we don't play favorites, and they've taken such a big hit, twisting themselves in knots, to then just throw it out and play a favorite seems crazy to me. Because
it is crazy, but you have to do it. I mean, in my opinion, you have to do it to win. Otherwise, how you explain?
Well, they did it last year.
Yeah, but last year they were not leading. Brian, what's a different story?
Right, but they had their papaya rules. So they announced that as like their concept last year, and then last year they wound up putting more weight behind Lando.
So the only thing I can say, I hope they learned something. But
I don't think Oscar
mathematically out of it.
Was he? I don't know if he was fully mathematically.
Yeah, no, he was out of it. Last year, Lando was. Oscar couldn't do it anymore mathematically. Lando could.
Really?
Do it.
That's when they made that choice? Was after he won in Monza? After Oscar?
Yes.
He got second in Monza, and then he was out of it?
He was so far behind
Okay.
at a certain point. And then the other thing is...
Commenters, can you fact check that? Fact check that, commenters.
They waited till Oscar was mathematically out of the championship, and then they let Lando go. They also, I'm sure they figured Lando didn't have a chance anyway. But that is speculation on my part. But there is a history of like teams that just don't care. They let, like in Williams in the old days with Mansell and Piquet, right? They didn't. They just let him go, and sometimes they lost the championship. They let him fight to the end.
Yeah. How embarrassing will that be, though, if you're McLaren and you let Max Verstappen slip through and win the championship?
But therefore, I think they will take the decision, because otherwise, if they lose it because of that decision, how dumb do they look? I mean, in the end, because you want to win the championship. And going back to the good old days, I think, first of all, they were good old days for a reason. And you try to manage Mansell and Piquet, mission impossible, I mean,
right.
Even for Frank Williams, I mean, that was just not doable, But, the drivers have changed now. The contracts have changed. They need to obey to contracts and all that stuff, So it's a different story. So we cannot compare that with that one. But I want to say... I think McLaren should have learned something out of last year. How they did it didn't work. And if they do the same this year, up to now it was like, okay, Max is not a threat anyway. It looks good if you let them race. And it's good, actually. It's not only looks good, it's good for the people which watch it, But now it's getting to a point where there could be some damage to the team in losing the Drivers' Championship. So if you run the team, you have to prevent this by putting a rule down to make somebody unhappy. And so it should be.
If you're Zach Brown, when are you making that call?
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask.
I would make it now.
You'd swing the guillotine.
Yeah.
You'd cut Lando's head off right now.
Yeah. I would do, because I just want to make sure I win the championship. Because, as you guys say, I mean, I said, I'm contradicting myself, because I said I think Max cannot get near. But if I only get the feeling there is a risk, why would I take it?
I think you're right. It's interesting, because I think if you cut Lando's head off now, I think Max goes from having a 10% chance to like a 1% chance.
Correct, yeah.
Right.
Because
that's what happens.
And you also send a message to Max,
Yeah. It's true.
Which is that we fear you. That we're terrified of you. I don't know if it sends a strong message. I think it sends a message of okay, we'll win it.
No, but you tell him, we will do everything to win it,
Right.
It shows unity. Right. It's like, we're going to stop fighting each other and we're just going to fight you.
Right. Exactly, yeah.
That's right. Well, let's discuss McLaren, because this last week was kind of a mess for them. I think I want to discuss Oscar Piastri, who this year has been absolutely cold as ice, never faltering. We take for granted that he's cool under pressure. Yeah, that's right. Oscar Piastri, ya boy. What do you make of
cool.
this?
I mean, he
what
made
do you make
mistakes.
of this bad? I mean, it was bad weekend for him.
Yeah, but hopefully he's got it out of the system now. Hopefully it doesn't make any more. But he was pretty cool afterwards. He said, it was a shit weekend. They happen, I mean, the only two guys which never have a shit day is you two, I think, So, to all normal human beings, it happens. I had a lot of shit days, and you just get up again and go again, And I would not, how should we speak about a lot of other drivers? We had more than one shit weekend. I mean, Oscar had one shit weekend, and that's it, I think he can recover pretty quick from it, Done and dusted,
He had a shit Saturday.
Yeah.
He crashed on Saturday. Then he had a shit start, and then he crashed. Like, it was
three.
I've never seen him really make I never seen him make a real big mistake.
He put it all in one weekend, so it's all done, and now he starts fresh, Matt. It's strategic. You do not understand this,
He purged.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Purge.
Get it out of the system. Boom, I go now again. Yeah. And he just wanted to watch the race from that position in that chair. That's what he was dreaming of. It was a childhood dream of him, and that is how he did it.
Yes.
What do you do? I mean, I know that you don't want to look into anything, Guenther. I know you don't want to delve into anyone's psychology or why anyone did anything. People just do things because that's just the way it is. Why do you think he had such a bad week? Why do you think this? Why on this weekend, unlike any other weekend, doth Oscar Piastri crash?
That's Passover, not Rosh Hashanah, Brian.
I know, but
So why? I don't know why. I think when you start off the weekend like he did in qualifying, he did what he did. I think at the start, obviously, he wanted a little bit more to make as much up as he can. Made a mistake again, and then just misjudged the braking, and because he wanted too much too quick, So I think what he learned out of it is, if you do something wrong, it's no point to try to make it up by making more mistakes, by taking too much risk, So, but it all started in qualifying, obviously, it's all there.
It's also interesting to think about that this massive mistake, this error-prone weekend that he made, was made like when his championship has been like the most secure. Like, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, you had a bad qualifying. You're right behind. But you're still right behind Lando. You don't even. All you have to do is stay right behind him, finish right behind him every race, and you win the championship. He finishes second. You finish third.
Yeah, but maybe
he finishes first. But I guess maybe driving defensively is like, it takes you out of the rhythms that got you to where you are. And Sometimes I think what happens is when teams get a big lead, you see this happen a lot. They start playing differently. They start playing not to lose. Do you see any of that? Maybe he's driving now not to lose, and that's kind of compromising him.
I think it's too early. I don't think that he's this. I think you a little bit too optimistic. I don't think he feels as secure as you would feel secure of him. I think he says there is only one, like an engine going or something happening, and I'm back to square one, and he wanted more, which wasn't there, and made a mistake. So I don't think because he's driving now, as you could call it, defensively. I don't think that happened yet. I mean, I think he went on attack and just made mistake, or he maybe wanted to give the points back which Lando lost when the engine blew up. To be fair.
Right. That's right. Well, Lando did some stuff, to be fair to Oscar. He said, Oscar's out. I don't want to get pole. Let me get 7. So I can be Oscar and I can start as close to each other as possible. What do you make? I mean, there's been a lot of discussion around Lando not capitalizing on this moment. Oscar crashes in qualifying. They send him out first. He kind of takes the beach with the track that had the water on it. He's snappy. He winds up not being in the top 3 position. He falls all the way down to 7th. And then in the race, he messes up a restart. And then obviously what happened in the pit lane. We'll get to the pit lane, situation in a second. But Lando, do you think that McLaren, missed that
fresh
opportunity
mediums
for Lando?
Couldn't make up places. Yeah.
Maybe or maybe Lando, that racetrack just didn't suit their car, and they weren't where they wanted to be. And obviously there is now pressure coming, so he made mistakes, both made mistakes, but I don't think there is one thing which triggered all this. This is just a race weekend happening. A lot of shit happened for McLaren,
How do you have a pit stop like that twice now? How do you fuck
two
up
races
Lando?
in a row?
2 races like that in a row for Lando.
Yeah.
How does that happen as a team?
I think they are asking themselves that because it's something you don't want to happen. I mean, it's like one of these things they shouldn't happen. I mean, I think Andrea said we need better pit stop equipment or whatever. I find that comment a little bit weird because I'm pretty sure that McLaren has got the best one you can buy. I don't think they have to save money on the pit stop equipment. I'm pretty sure about that one, So I'm surprised about that comment, I was like, wow, sure. How you mean, Because
can I ask you about that? So were there is there a gulf in quality of equipment between what you had at Haas and what Mercedes or Red Bull had?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. There is a difference. Yeah. I mean, the big teams, I don't know exactly. I mean, I didn't look what now, if everybody's got the same. I don't think there's always developments, also in the software and all that stuff. And the big teams just have got the edge over it. But in the end, the most important thing on pit stops is the human being, is the guy which does it. With the equipment, you can be a tenth of a second faster or 2/10 of a second faster, but not more. But the guys which do it, the guys and the girls, because there are girls doing it as well, they are the most important thing. I always put it down to, you need the equipment. If you want the 2-second pit stop or the 2.1, you need the best equipment. Otherwise, you cannot do it. But the 2.5, 2.6, if you have got good people and not the latest equipment, are possible to do. And you need to, the most important is to be able to do it consistently. And that's mainly the guys being in that, also in here, we can do this, and I for sure McLaren has got a good pit stop training program. They've got people there which train the guys and all that stuff, which just do that one. So, obviously going wrong twice, it's very strange. It's very strange because, they didn't do a lot of mistakes over the years lately. And just in the last 2-3 races, they made a few mistakes and they cost them some points.
All right. McLaren, got to get your shit together.
Get your shit together, Don't do Baku again. Between the drivers, the team, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe the Wanker of the week could have been McLaren as well, We gave them too many Rockstars, yeah. So
the whole organization. It was definitely a
not their weekend,
for them.
Not their weekend, yeah.
Not their weekend. Seemingly, they should be right back to form at Singapore, which is, plays right into their hands, but we shall see. Vankahs, it's officially fall, which means it's officially time for some juicy, juicy steak, which is why I'm so glad that this episode is brought to you by our friends at Omaha Steaks. They make cooking so convenient. I live in New York City. I never cook steak. I got a tiny apartment because it's such a hassle. You got everything to do. You got to go to the grocery store. You got to get it. You got to cook it right there. No. Not with Omaha Steak. They send you unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Right now, it's the perfect time to stock up with their exceptional handcrafted flavor and convenience of Omaha Steaks. Every steak is aged perfectly to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef has more marbling for exceptional flavor and is the choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. And it's also the same choice of us here at Vankah Hours. I love it. I cooked myself a juicy filet mignon the other day, and it was absolutely delicious. I said, why would I ever go to a restaurant for this when I can cook it like this at home? And the meat, the quality is unbelievable. So get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks and visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Red Hot Sale event. And get an extra $35 off when you use the promo code Vankah at checkout. That is an unbelievable deal. That is 50% off at omahasteaks.com and add an extra $35 off with the promo code Vankah at checkout. See site for details. All right, why don't we get to our favorite segment, Gas or Break?
Carlos's podium proves Ferrari made the wrong choice.
Whoa. Gas. I mean, Carlos was doing a good job. They wouldn't have all the interference from outside of Lewis not performing, so the team could focus on going racing, making things better instead of always trying to find out why Lewis doesn't like the car. They had a known quantity with Carlos, he could deliver. And Lewis, obviously, I mean, I respect Lewis, but in the moment, for the unrest he brings into the team and around the team, is it worthwhile investment? Maybe not. And also the investment, money-wise, I'm pretty sure it's a lot higher with Lewis than with Carlos,
I hate to say this. This kills me inside because no one was more excited than I was when they hired Lewis. But gas. Gas. I mean, I've seen enough. Carlos was a great number 2 for Leclerc. He was great for them. And
I need to interfere here. I don't think Carlos would like to be called number 2 to Leclerc.
I don't give a fuck what he wants to be called.
All right. Sorry, yeah. You careless bastard.
He was all right. Will we say he's a 1A? He wasn't the number 1 driver there. We say he was a 1A?
Yeah, they were equal, Carlos won races.
You went up an octave. You don't even believe the shit you're saying. He won races.
I have no voice left. I mean, I had the show today,
You have to protect your voice, Guenther. We've got a show to do in Austin, October 19th, 9 p.m.
But
buy tickets.
Get your tickets.
They had different driving styles, Carlos and Charles. When Charles was off, Carlos was on. When Charles was on, Carlos was off. They complemented each other very, very well. Charles was kind of the impulsive one. Carlos was cerebral. They were a great team. And when they signed Lewis, I was very excited. I thought this was amazing. But in hindsight, looking back, if there's one thing Ferrari doesn't need, it's more fucking pressure.
Absolutely.
They don't need any more pressure.
They don't need it, no.
They don't fucking need it.
That's what I'm on gas. We are united on the gas, we are going full gas. Where are you going,
All right, why don't you boys pump your fucking brakes and show some goddamn respect where respect is due. Listen, Lewis has had a disappointing year. Yes, of course, no one would say that more than Lewis. But you know who else has a disappointing year? The fucking Ferrari organization. And as much as we think that now Carlos Sainz gets a podium and he's the second coming again, that he'd be able to turn this shitbox into a fucking box of flowers, I don't think that's true. And you know what? The points don't fucking lie, okay? Because as bad as Lewis Hamilton apparently has been this year, Charles Leclerc has 165 points. Lewis Hamilton has 121. That's 73% of Charles's points. Lewis has 70% of Charles's points. Even after Carlos Sainz's podium, Alex Albon has 70 points. Carlos Sainz has 31. What are we talking about? I understand that this guy's got talent, but give Lewis Hamilton a fucking second. Carlos hasn't had some amazing year in the new machinery. I understand he's had bad luck, but not all of that has been the car. It's been him adjusting to the car. And now because he has one result, which he was partly helped out about through a red flag, through Charles Leclerc crashing during qualifying, to be clear, all of a sudden now it's curtains for Lewis Hamilton. Give him a fucking second. Next year, new regs, a car that might be a little bit more of the way that Lewis likes to drive, and next year might be the fucking deciding factor to prove you two absolutely wrong.
It's not going to happen.
Damn. I'm so jealous of that take. What was I thinking?
Next prompt.
Christian Horner will be back on the grid next year.
Break. I think he will wait a little bit, he's eager to get there, but, in the moment, I don't think there's anything there for him, what he wants to do.
What does he want to do?
I think he wants to be part of a team owning, and I don't think there's anything for sale or to be had at, even if you want to buy it, I mean, it's a lot of money. I know he got a lot of money, but what he got is not enough to buy a team, so far off it, because he would not do anything else than being team principal, even going to Alpine to work with Flavio. I mean, that would not work, Flavio and him in the top position. I mean, then Flavio would need to go, and it doesn't look like Flavio is going anywhere soon, so I think I bumped the brake on that one. And, he can wait. I mean, Christian, he doesn't need to be in a hurry.
I just want to say this is off of the heels of the news that he and Red Bull have officially parted ways. There was a settlement that was reached. I think he was paid $100 million, where his gardening leave was negotiated so he can come back in a role before the summer of 2026. And there's talk about him maybe going to Alpine, Aston Martin, Cadillac, maybe there's been some Ferrari that's been thrown around, but seems like maybe Alpine would be the place given his relationship with Flavio.
I'm going gas. Why would Christian pay lawyers to negotiate an early exit for a gardening leave to not go on the grid when it's over? If you don't plan on returning, then why would you give a fuck about the gardening leave, Guenther?
Because you get a bucket full of money in once, and then you can do what you want. That is the reason why. Because if you're on gardening leave, you cannot do anything, and if you can get the money in your pocket, it's always better than money owned.
But I'm saying it seems like he negotiated for a shorter gardening leave, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is not an negotiation.
More money. He could have gotten more money and said, I won't return to F1
He could have.
I said, I'll be gone for 5 years and give me $200 million.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, I don't know the exact what he got. I mean, we need to be careful here what he got and what not. What the press says and what the people say. It's always is hearsay. But I think
but
in
aren't
the
these
end,
non-compete clauses sort of like, if you get more if you're out longer, less if you're out shorter, these sorts of things.
Yeah, but
it seems like the gardening leave is pretty short.
Yeah, it's pretty short, but maybe Red Bull wasn't worried that he goes anywhere, and maybe they negotiated and said, we actually give you less money, but you let you out. Maybe it came from Red Bull's side and said, hey, if you want this, and it's a negotiation. So not having the details, what we are doing is speculating about other people's money, and it's always difficult to do. It's always difficult to do because we don't know how much money it was and how much time. But anyway, it's in the end, what does Red Bull have from it if they don't care if he goes and works somewhere else and they keep him there and have to pay more money? So maybe they said, hey, you can go and we give you more money, and otherwise, you need to stay. So I don't know what they said. I have no idea.
I'm going gas. I think that he and Flavio Briatore are a match made in heaven or hell. I'm not even sure which one it is, but the two of them, I think, vibe-wise, I think it seems like a place where he could go. Who knows would happen down the line with that team, where it's going to go, who's going to own that team, whatever. Maybe a Christian's in there. It gives him an easier chance of potentially being an owner down the road or whatever it is. I think he'll be at the Alpine pit wall come the end of summer break of 2026. Next prompt.
Paul Aaron will replace Colapinto next year.
Ooh. Break. Colapinto is making progress in the moment, And, Matt is making progress, hitting the wall, I know that, He's making progress, but look where the car is. You cannot judge a driver with a car like this. Look at Bortoleto, what he did in the Sauber, when the Sauber was shit beginning of the year. Nobody thought he can drive a car. Now that the car is half decent, a lot better than it was beginning of the year, he's shining, So I think what Flavio wants to wait. He keeps him in the car beginning of next year and knows that if he's not delivering beginning of next year with the new car, see where the car is, and if he's not delivering compared with Gasly, he's gone. But I think he will see this season out and start the next season. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you're right, Guenther. This is all assuming. Normally. I'm going gas. I mean, you're assuming, Guenther, that we're talking about a very measured, a very patient, non-impulsive,
Flavio,
non-crash gate affiliated man. But we are, in fact, talking about a non-ex fugitive man. But we are, in fact, talking about Flavio Briatore. Okay? And he has proven himself to not be patient. How many races did Doohan get before he got the fucking ripcord?
But he was patient up to now with him because he said Colapinto needs to deliver, but he didn't deliver, but he's still patient. Yeah.
Right, but did you see the look that he gave when Colapinto threw in the wall at Baku after Gasly went off? Did you see the look he gave?
No, I didn't see that, to be honest. No,
it was utter. Hold on 1 second.
Leave the pause in.
Disgusto. Ribrezzo. Schifo.
Schifo.
That's what it was. Schifo. Yeah, it was schifo. That's what it was. And I think he's ready to just throw the baby out with the bathwater and start again. I think we're seeing shades of Red Bull here. That's what I think we're seeing. And he's ready to just keep throwing kids in the water, into the deep end, and maybe eventually one of them will swim. And that's not an indictment on Colapinto. That's just what I think we're seeing here.
I am going break because as much as Mr. Flavio Briatore wants to win there, I think he knows that right now that's not really in the cards. And Colapinto brings some cash money with him. And I don't know about this Paul Aaron guy, but he's Estonian, and I don't know if the Estonians have the same type of deep pockets as the Argentinians back in Colapinto. So I think that I think probably most likely scenario is exactly what you said, Guenther. I think Colapinto starts it next year, new regs, see how he does, and if he's not there, come a quarter of the races in, a third of the races
six
in,
races,
maybe
six
after,
races in,
maybe
gone,
after the
boom.
summer break, if he's whatever.
Yeah.
I think that Paul Aaron gets in there, and he looked good last year in Formula 2, so I think it might be in his favor. Next prompt.
Red Bull and Racing Bulls should stick with their lineups.
Break.
What should they do, Guenther?
I think Hajar should go in the Red Bull. Matt is leaving now. He had enough of me. Hello, guys. They both left me because their preferred son, Yuki Tsunoda, I get him out of the car.
Finish sixth. He finished sixth.
You can come back. You two. Don't escape reality. Do not escape reality. Do wankers, you know.
Have you thought about what you said? Have you changed your mind?
No.
Right.
No, you're not going.
Come back, Matt.
Wait.
We have to face this.
Yeah, you have to face reality, you know. You cannot escape reality. Before you said, Carlos Sainz had one podium and this Carlos there. Yuki Tsunoda had 1/6 fucking place, you know, in a Red Bull, you know, not in a Williams. So, you know, you two. I don't know what
things
is this.
to come. Sign things to come.
Guenther,
What is this love affair with Yuki Tsunoda?
He found something. He found something in the simulator.
That's right. He
Where?
didn't
said
go
it
on
himself.
vacation.
Where was it? Under the seat? What did he find? A wallet? Fucking hell. Did he find a wallet? You know?
A piece of data, the missing piece of data that's been eluding him this whole time.
Where was it in the simulator? Where was it hidden?
It was.
I don't know.
it was in
Somewhere in the
it was in his
Matrix.
car.
I don't know how
On
this
it.
shit works.
He was sitting on it, you know.
You're saying it was up his ass, but here's the thing, Guenther. This speaks to something else, though. I want to talk about this in a second, but we kind of breezed by this, you know, with the Monza upgrade. Yuki, maybe not good enough for you. I partially don't want to talk about this. I partially want to move past this. We'll get to it in a second. But I want to bring this up. We got the Monza upgrade. Max won 2 races in a row. Yuki, maybe not good enough for your fucking perfectionist ass. Suddenly, Mr. Perfect.
How you know that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, maybe he's not good enough for you, but he's a lot better. Are we thinking, you know, we're already talking about Christian taking over another F1 team. Is Lauren Mecky's legit? How much of this can be this new bump in performance from both Yuki and Max, honestly?
You know what?
What's funny is that we have another gasser break about this very thing.
Okay. All right. So cut that. I sorry, I didn't have enough faith in you, Jenny. Let's just talk about Yuki for a second. Yeah. He found something in the wind tunnel, or in the simulator. You're not giving him any more time. If you had to make the decision, you'd pull the plug now.
I mean, Hajar is doing a very good job. Yuki was in the and I like Yuki. I like him as a person, but in the end, it's about business, you know.
Okay, so you put Hajar in that seat. What else do you do? What happened? Yuki's gone, and then you have Lindblad and Liam.
Because that what Racing Bulls is there to develop young drivers, you know, and not it's not a team which that was always set. And if we stick to that one, that's what should happen. See what Lindblad can do, you know.
But where does Yuki then drive
I don't know.
The Red Bull system?
You need to ask Yuki that one, not me, you know.
Yeah,
not that Racing Bulls.
Then Yuki is out of the sport. Okay,
No, I wouldn't say that. I think Yuki will find a home as a reserve driver at Aston Martin, see what's happening there, you know. With Honda coming, he's going again.
I'm going break. I think that I'm going gas. I think that they should leave things as it is, because we've seen how many times does this need to happen with Red Bull, where they promote someone too quickly and it's a mess. And as much as Lindblad is like their shiny new toy and they want to play with, if you give people being a reserve for a year, we saw Oscar Piastri do that at Alpine, and then look what the great driver that he is now, and he was a very touted, hyped guy. I think leave it as it is. If next year Yuki's struggling with the car and you want to swap some stuff next year, I think maybe that's okay. But like the desire to we got to put Lindblad in there now because we rushed him through the junior formulas and we got to I don't know, destroy this kid like we have other drivers in our academy. Learn from the mistakes and like let Lindblad get in there, be a reserve. We'll get the lay of the land before you just throw him into the deep end.
I got some other news for you guys. Guess where Lindblad is in the F2 standings? Guess where he is? Just take a guess.
Yeah, he's not doing so great. I know.
He's 7th. What would kill them from, like, have we not seen what happened with Antonelli? Would it kill them to leave him in there another year? Are they dying to ruin this kid?
But he's not going to Red Bull Lindblad. He's not going to Red Bull. You cannot compare Antonelli with Lindblad. Antonelli went straight to an A team. Lindblad will go to a B team, and that is what Racing Bulls was established for, to have drivers in like him.
I know, but he's pretty young.
On something, to do a year in F2 for Lindblad wouldn't be a bad thing as well. I mean, I must admit that one, because he's still very young. He has got all the time available. I think that would be better than being reserve driver, to be honest.
That's what I'm worried about, his development. The Yuki staying a year is also just an added bonus, honestly.
All right. Next prompt.
Red Bull is better off with Mekis than Horner.
Gas. And the reason is, it seems the team is calmer. You don't have, before it was every weekend there was a news story. They didn't get on. This guy didn't get on with this one. In the moment, they seem to be working in harmony. And therefore, I think they are better off. I'm not putting this one down. The results they had, the last two races to Christian being gone. I just put it down to there was unhappiness, but that was now for 1.5 years in the team. And now it seems to be, working pretty smooth, And obviously, Laurent is, he's a good leader. He's very calm. He doesn't get involved in politics and stuff like this, So and he's just doing his job. And before, there was just like always friction in the team between different parties. And I never understood between who it was, So, I think that for they're better off. It's gas, yeah. They're not worse off, They're winning races with Laurent there. It's not down to Laurent, in my opinion. I wouldn't give him credit for that. But I would give him credit for calming everything down inside the team.
I'm confused. Are you giving him credit or not giving him credit?
I'm giving credit, but not the results. I don't credit the results. The last two wins, they are not because Laurent is there. I think the team in general is better off now for the future. The results, you cannot come in and the next day having wins. It cannot happen. So I give him,
Duh. I wasn't about to overreact.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I agree. I think I'm going gas. Obviously, Christian's tenure there with the politics and everything else that was going on made his tenure there impossible. It was a lot of distractions, a lot of the infighting, people leaving, the brain drain there from Newey and Wheatley on down. It became unsustainable, and I think honestly, just having any sort of hand that wasn't his was going to be a stabilizing force. So, yeah, I totally agree that. They needed a steadier hand on the tiller, and now they have one. So
yeah, I'm going gas, but you know what? I'm gonna say this last win. I will say that this Monza update, this floor that they came in, that was in the cards from when Christian was there. That was long in the cards. So I'm not going to give Laurent credit for that. But I will give Laurent a bit of credit for giving Max the ability with the wing cutting in Monza. What they've said coming out of the Rebel camp is this guy, because Laurent has the engineering background, that is a welcome kind of new energy in there. So I'm going to give Laurent a bit of that credit, but I think it remains to be seen how well he's going to do in his position. We'll see what happens with his decisions about Yuki Tsunoda next year. That will be the real test.
That will be the test if he's a good or bad guy,
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. That does it for Gas or Break. Guenther, we have Singapore is the next race. What are your predictions for the Singapore GP?
Papaya.
Which papaya?
I mean, my papaya is Oscar Piastri. Second is Lando Norris. Third is George Russell. No. I have to.
Hot race.
Yeah. Charles Leclerc.
Matt?
I'm going Oscar, Lando, Max Verstappen.
I'm going Lando, Max, Oscar. Same as last year. You heard it there. And you know what? Both of you didn't think that Max Verstappen was even going to be on the podium in Baku. I was the only one who said that right. I'm coming up on both of you for this podium prediction tally. I got you in my sights. I got you in my sights, just like Max Verstappen's got Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri in his sights.
A long way to go.
I'm just like Max Verstappen. And I'm going to ride that Max Verstappen being great wave until the end. Okay, Vankah Nation, that does it for this episode of Vankah Hours. Get your tickets to our live show in Austin, October 19th, 9 p.m., Paramount Theater. Be there or be square. Don't be a wanker, be a rock star. We'll see you in Austin. Goodbye, Vankahs.
Goodbye, wankers, and subscribe to Wanker Hours.
That's right. Get your tickets.
I'm a boss. I'm a red flag every